Happy St. Patrick's Day! Happy Friday, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day. How are you doing? Welcome to another episode of According to Michelle's. Let me put down my magic wand. Yes, I am representing as best as I possibly can as I celebrate or highlight this interesting holiday that's known to be celebrated in a couple of places. And we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to be about it. How are you doing? What's happening? What's going on? What's happening? Let me know all about it in the comments. And don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for coming by. This is According to Michelle's. Come on in and enjoy the show. We're going to be talking about St. Patrick's Day. And I titled this video today, 3 things that you didn't know about St. Patrick's Day. All right? 3 things. And you know me, when I start doing numbers, it's always a bonus. So look out for the bonus, okay? Look for the bonus. 3 things that you didn't know about St. Patrick's Day. Now, hands up if you are aware of its original idea. What was the original idea? What was the original idea for St. Patrick's Day? Okay, so first of all, the 17th of March is the standard date. And the reason for that is that's the day that St. Patrick is known to have died. Okay? Now, the original context of this whole festival was to commemorate the introduction or the bringing in of Christianity to Ireland. Okay? So this young man, he had his revelation and his faith, came to Ireland to spread the gospel. And it was like his tenacity and his drive to spread the gospel was likened to someone driving snakes off of Ireland, even though there's no snakes known to be on the island. Okay, so the thrust of the journey of the faith being introduced and spread amongst the Irish was likened to that. All right. One of the things that is said is that the shamrock, which is what I'm wearing here, the 3-leaf shamrock was used to explain the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. All right, so that was what he used, and there's stories that back it up that was what he was using to share it. So that's how it basically started. Now, normally St. Patrick's Day falls between Lent, so that particular day, the Lenten practices were lifted to allow persons to eat and drink. Hence, that's what we know of. Well, for me, and I think that's safe to say for everybody, of St. Patrick's Day, especially in the Western world, where it's really hyped and a lot of traditional stuff is done and celebration and partying, and what is now known as excessive alcoholic consumption that takes place on this particular holiday, right? So outside of Ireland, it's more a big fanfare, parades, etc., etc. In Ireland, it's more of a religious celebration and going to church for services and so on and so forth. Okay. Additionally, at the end of At the end of the day in Ireland, what they do is put one of these shamrocks in the bottom of a cup. They pour either beer, whiskey, or cider on top of it. They do a toast in honor of St. Patrick or Ireland, or for those who are there in the room, a toast, and then they drink the drink. Okay, the shamrock may either be done two things. Two things may either happen to the shamrock. They was either swallow it with the drink, or two, it's removed from the cup, thrown over the shoulder for good luck. Hence, I guess the whole luck of the Irish. That's just my input. That's just my interpretation. It could be something else that leads to the luck of the Irish. All right. So that's number one. That last part I just tied it into number one. But that's the first thing. So the original context is not even so much half of the stuff that, and what they're saying is that a lot of the things that are happening around the world is basically part of the Irish diaspora that had migrated across the world, that extended the celebration to what we know it as today. All right, number two, St. Patrick's Day is a public holiday out in 3 other places outside of Ireland, so including both Republic and Northern Ireland. Outside of those of Ireland, there are 3 other places that celebrate St. Patrick's Day as a national holiday. We have Newfoundland and Labrador in Canada, and the British territory of Montserrat, which is in the Caribbean, also known as the Emerald Island of the Caribbean. All right, so those are the 3 places that celebrate it as a national holiday. All right, outside of Ireland. So that's number 2. Okay, number 2. All right, number 3. Since 2010, famous landmarks have been known to light up in green on St. Patrick's Day as a part of Tourism Ireland's global greening. So, like the tourism in Ireland reach out to people, I guess is instigated by the diaspora. They go out, they do different greening on certain landmarks. So the first one was the Sydney Opera House. That was the first one. And the Sky Tower in Auckland. Those were the first 2 to start going green around St. Patrick's Day. And of course, everybody knows that Chicago literally changes that river to green every St. Patrick's Day. That's a traditional thing. That's pretty much common. I'm not sure if it's before or after these people in 2010, but from as long as I can ever remember, they were making that river green. I guess the river is different from a landmark. I guess so. All right, so these are landmarks that from they started, the Sydney Opera House and the Sky Tower in Auckland. From they started, over 300 landmarks in 50 countries across the globe have begun to go green for St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, the influence has been spread and people are finding out about the different ideas and stuff like that. All right. So ready for one more? Ready for one more? I tell you, there's a story to be added to all of this. There is a story to be told about all of this. You ready for the story? Even before so this is a bonus outside of the bonus. This is a bonus outside of the bonus. You ready for it? You ready for it? All right, here we go. So back to the fact that we have 3 places outside of Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland that celebrates St. Patrick's Day, a national holiday. We want to zero in on that Caribbean island called Montserrat. So, Montserrat celebrates the St. Patrick's Day not because of St. Patrick's Day, but because of a failed slave rebellion that never came to what it's supposed to really have done. All right. So, in the 18th century, 17th century, Montserrat was, what you call it now, like, they use that word discover, but I like to put that in parentheses because I'm sure there were persons already living there. So, Irish colonizers came to Montserrat. Some came over from St. Kitts and Nevis, and others came from the U.S. and from interactions with the French and the Irish and so on and so forth. Okay, so the Irish was on the island. They had slaves, right? Even though eventually from that slave was abolished because Montserrat is under the British rule. Okay, so but that still is outside of the reason for this now. Okay, so this is St. Patrick's Day. The slaves planning. They say, okay, we know that our colonizers, we know that our masters tend to be drunk and thrown up and, hang over after St. Patrick's Day. So the plan was, who could have grabbed ammunition will grab some. The others will use rocks and anything that they can use as a weapon to overthrow the slave owners. So by the time the rebellion was being planned, the slaves were 3-1. So they knew that St. Patrick's Day, their owners are going to be drinking and drunk. They'll wait till after that to attack so they could get their freedom. However, somebody overheard the story and the plan and went and informed the owners. So they weren't half as drunk when the slaves decided to follow through, not knowing that their story was told. I guess they still went around doing their eating and having fun, pretending, I guess, to be drunk, but they weren't half as drunk as they would have been had, and so the uprising failed. That year, the year of the uprising was March 17, 1768. So because somebody go back and talk, somebody snitch back using our terms, the slave uprising failed. No, the story, I guess, maybe got a little hushed because nobody talked about it for many years. And it was in 1971, scholars discovered it, I guess, while doing their research, found the history of it, that there was something like this. And so they started publicizing the information, teaching the natives of Montserrat about this uprising. And in 1985, they decided that they will do a 10-day celebration. A 10-day celebration around the whole slave uprising. So they're not celebrating, even though I guess it still says it's St. Patrick's Day, but for them as a country, they use it to celebrate the history of Montserrat in the form of singing and dancing, traditional costumes, and eating of traditional foods. So it's almost like a little national day, so to speak, as it relates, and it's not Independence Day because they're not independent. So it's, I guess, the closest form of their independence that this would be, because they're not independent, they're still under the British rule. I had to put that in my memory, that they're not independent, they're still under the British rule. All right, so they did that from 1985 to now. There's a 10-day celebration commemorating the uprising. Of course, because it failed, the main aggressors were hanged, right? It was 9 of them, they were hanged. About 30 were beaten and imprisoned and then banished. I guess they chased them off the island and sent them to other places. So I guess the memory of the whole thing won't give anybody an idea to start it again. And so that's one of the things for me that, of everything that I've been saying, that intrigues me the most about this holiday. The fact that this was what happened for Montserrat, and they've used it to spin it for their cultural advancement and educational processes, right? Right. So this is, as I said, this wasn't even the bonus. This is the extra extra. You ready now for the bonus? Number 4. Oh my goodness. I gave you number 4 already and I just realized, but I'm going to give it to you again. Number 4, at the end of the celebrations, especially in Ireland, they put the shamrock in the cup, pour their favorite whiskey, beer, or cider on top of it, and then they do a toast to St. Patrick's Day or to Ireland, or for the people that are there, a toast to them. And then they drink. The shamrock may be swallowed or it may be removed and thrown over their shoulder for good luck. That was number 4, but I gave you number 4 earlier without even realizing. Oh my goodness. Yep. So this has been another wonderful episode surrounding St. Patrick's Day. I hope you learned something. Please don't be shellfish. Please share. Please like. Please subscribe. And happy St. Patrick's Day. Okay, that one failed. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy Friday. Be good, okay? Be safe. And if you are participating in the celebrations, please drink responsibly. Bye.